Most people who know me think I'm a pretty upbeat person, but it was not always so. Recently, I looked at some old family photos. One hand-tinted picture caught my eye. It was my sister and me, aged 3 and 6. I'm wearing a plaid blouse, and my hair is in the hated pigtails. I am smiling sweetly, a surprise. I probably didn't smile again in a photo until I was 25. Usually, I'm sullen, morose, glum, lower lip stuck out in a perpetual pout. I had a miserable childhood in the Midwest. Oh, don't get me wrong. I wasn't abused or even neglected. I was simply unhappy, and it showed. Even my name was a drag, Florence. My mother said, "Child, why are you so terrible?" "Gee, Ma, I don't know. I'm just a kid," I thought. When I was 11, a family friend said, "Florence, with a face like that, no man will ever want to marry you." Those things stick. I dutifully got good grades and practiced my piano and my cello. When a classmate complimented me on my A's, I shrugged it off, saying, "Yeah, but you're cute." Jump forward a couple of decades. I didn't have the nerve to break it off with my boyfriend, so I did what we did then, ran off to San Francisco. I found a roommate, a great apartment in an old Victorian, and a job in the clinics at UC Med Center near Golden Gate Park. It was the summer of love, but I didn't know it. My roommate, Annette, wanted this particular apartment because her psychiatrist lived around the corner. She was in psychotherapy 4 days a week. Therapy was a completely foreign concept to me. Where I came from, you only got therapy if you were rich or crazy, and I was neither. But my moods were mercurial. One day, Annette suggested that I get some therapy. "Why?" I asked. "I feel fine." "You're fine today," she said, "but by tomorrow or the next day, you'll get depressed again." I began to see that Annette was right. I was up one day, down the next. I had no money for a psychiatrist, so I looked into group therapy at other hospitals so no one I knew would see me. I found a therapy group one evening a week for $2 a session. The doctor let us call him by his first name, Art, and wore shirt sleeves during group, not a lab coat. There were a dozen of us in the group, various ages and genders. Ronnie, an 18-year-old gay guy with nasty parents. Brenda, a frumpy woman who complained of being a slob. Carol was cheerful and quite pretty if you looked at her head on, but was self-conscious about her receding chin. She wanted to get an implant, something I had never heard of. Connie was Chinese-American, slender with long black hair. She showed up every week, but never said a word. And me, I came in with a Golden Gate-sized chip on my shoulder, as if to say, "I've got the problem, you've got the answer, so show me." I soon found out that it didn't work that way. There was no magic pill. Art believed we should pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps, and that only happened by participating and doing the work. I just sniffed when Annette would call her therapy work. To me, work was digging ditches and sweeping floors, not sitting around talking about your problems while your rich parents paid for it. Since I had no preconceived notion about how therapy worked, I entered into it with an open mind in spite of my attitude. I was willing to talk about myself in the group, and I usually enjoyed it, even the uncomfortable parts. The weeks passed. Rock and roll and psychedelic light shows swirled around me. Fritz Perls engaged in psychodrama on stage at San Francisco State. The times, they were a-changin', and me along with them. It became clear to me that those who did the work changed, and those who didn't. It's a process. It doesn't just happen. After 3 months, we were to have a marathon, whatever that was, at Art's house in Mill Valley. It was all redwood, steel, and glass, secluded beneath leafy green trees. We met in a large studio, black leather and chrome furniture, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, oriental rugs, artwork, plenty to eat. This sure wasn't Ohio. This was heaven. The idea of the marathon was that after some hours, the barriers wear away, and we can be more honest with ourselves and with one another. We were free to move around the room. Connie crept behind the sofa and lay down. She remained there for the entire marathon. Revelations and breakthroughs occurred. Toward the end, we were instructed to go around the room and give a gift to each person. Mostly, we just wished each other well, but it's Carol's gift to me that stands out. She had gotten her plastic surgery and exuded confidence. She hopped up on a coffee table and gave everyone good wishes. When she got to me, she said, "Florence, I really hope you learn to lighten up." I was stunned. I didn't know whether to be hurt or grateful, and I didn't know that a person could learn to lighten up. I began to look at people, trying to see what lighten up meant. A waitress slammed the dishes down on our table. I thought, hey, I don't need this. And then, oh, neither do the patients in my clinics. I went with a couple of stewardesses to the BV, the Buena Vista, one of our favorite old bars. One of them was drop-dead gorgeous, platinum blonde, blue eyes, red lips, and sullen. A guy said to me, I'd rather be with a girl who's smiling than one like her. I smiled. Gosh, I thought, I could actually choose to lighten up. The LA boyfriend surprised me with a visit. He went into my bathroom and came out in his boxers, handsome as ever. I took a deep breath and asked him to leave. I don't want to see you anymore, I said, and that was that. I felt buoyant. Soon I decided to move back to LA and return to school. I was afraid to tell my family that I had been to therapy, but Annette and I talked about it, and I was working up the nerve to tell them. One sunny afternoon, we were all sitting around my parents' apartment, comfortably chatting. Then my sister's boyfriend said quite loudly, "What's with Florence? She's smiling and it isn't even funny." "Oh, it must be the therapy," I said without thinking. "What therapy?" 4 shocked voices said in unison. Oops, I thought I told you. Okay, I didn't exactly become Miss Congeniality, but most photos after that show me smiling.